Hello maygay fans, let's just take a quick look at this board before it's actually working. This is one that I've picked from my scrap pile, not for anyone in particular. As you can see, there's an awful lot of track work gone into this. I've removed all the chips obviously. This board has actually been used to been picked at for spares. There's one I've not took off. This was missing. This was missing. All the crystals are missing, so it's clearly been used as spares. But hopefully a little bit later on in the video we're going to see this one booting. Again, this is beyond the beyond, as I call it. So you get a board that can't be repaired, it's beyond repair. This is beyond that beyond. If you get me. It will boot. Guarantee it'll boot. This is my challenge. My in-between job. I am working on other boards, by the way, for people that have got them with me. This is just like a fill-in job in between when I get a bit stressed with one of the others or whatever. Slowly does it and all that. It's been quite a while, this one, but it's coming along nicely. See you in a bit. Good evening, maygay fans. This is the second part of my video for this green M1b, which I was repairing. Well, to be honest, it's more like a rebuild than a repair, innit? Because I've changed nearly every chip on this board because they were rotten to the core. All the tracks were rotten. Look at this here, all around this area. All there, all underneath the ram. So basically what I did, I repaired all this area, repaired all this area here. I repaired a few bits up here. I repaired some bits down here. And did a test with the probe and found that when the game card was in, it was dead. I changed more or less every chip on the board. And I was only testing it with the ones that you actually need to get it to boot at first, and it would just not boot. And I soon found out why. I was a long way off the board booting. If we turn it over, I'll show you. All the tracks, well not all, a lot of the tracks underneath the game card socket were broke. Now, I knew this was a hard board, or going to be a hard board before I started it. And it's a question of, you know, the usual question, was it worth doing? Now the thing is, you might say no, because the sheer time I spent on it for what I'd get back, you know, say if I sold it or whatever, it'd just be like working and getting paid for a job that you'd done, really. Nothing more, you know. But anyway, then at the end of that, so you could say, well, it wasn't worth it. But at the end of that, when you've got a working board, then there's two sides to it, isn't there? It is worth it because now it's working. Anyhow, so I found it was a terrible board, this, and I'd worked so many hours on it, about 5 or 6 hours doing the front, to find that everything under the game card here, what you can see, was broke. So I'm afraid I don't start a board and go as far as what I did with it to turn around and then give up. So something has to be done. So it means removing I'm not a big fan of this, putting them on the back like this. I like to put the tracks where they are. But can I just say, there's nothing wrong with doing it like this. So if you've got a board there that someone's repaired for you and it's like this everywhere, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It does the job exactly the same as what I've done with the front. But I'm just not a big fan of it. I prefer to, you know, put things back right where they were. But in this instance, it was a case of I removed this here and put it all right and put it back or put a new one on, and it's a hell of a job removing that, believe me. So no, it wasn't an option. The option was to repair this lot here. So we repaired all that lot there, and it still wouldn't boot. So I'm scratching my head at this point. So I decided to message Magic you know, the Great Magic, and see if he could like point me in the direction or go through it with me and point me in the right direction. And we used the probe and stuff, and we figured out that this here was back feeding. Something was back feeding down it. The cap here wasn't charging, and that seemed to be back feeding. So we did about an hour, I think, on that night, and we didn't find out what it was. I changed this, even though it's been changed already again. So I spent then about 4 days after that on my own trying to figure out what it was. So he pointed me in the right direction, knew it was round here somewhere what was wrong. And I found pin 1 of this IC one night, and pin 6 of this IC were buzzing together, and they shouldn't. Therefore, grounding this chip, grounding this, and grounding so many more that, you know, are connected to it. So no wonder we weren't getting a boot. And I figured out the tracks that it was 2 that had made underneath this. They didn't look like they were touching. And I must have checked. I took this out about 3 times just to check, and I couldn't, you know, it didn't look like they were touching. Basically, both sides of this cap, the tracks what I'd done for both sides of it, the plus and the minus, were joined together. And that's what was causing the buzz at 1 and 6, connecting that up. So as soon as I parted that, I got the usual quiverly feeling through me, because I thought, it's, you know, everything that I checked as per usual, checked everything, all the tracks to everything on the board, and it couldn't have been anything else. So I got that usual quiver of like your hair being stuck up on end, because I kind of knew inside that this is it. I was going to see. I was convinced I was going to see this board boot then when I stuck that card in. So what I did, indeed, I stuck the card in, and I hesitated for a minute. And before I pressed that power supply, I thought, please, boot. It's got to be this. And then deep down inside me, I get that quivery feeling, and I think, this is going to be it. This is what is stopping this. And lo and behold, we got the old boot. Now, we're not going to see a boot on this very clear, because I decided to have a bit of fun like I usually do, and I put some different colour LEDs on this. I put 3 blue ones there, as you can see, and replaced all the rest with yellow ones. So when you actually see it boot, it's that bright that the camera doesn't really catch it. But I am going to show this one working in the machine. Now, I fixed this properly yesterday afternoon, actually finished it, and this is why you must, when you're fixing a board like this, you're better off with a few different types of machine. And what I'm saying is, you can fix one of these for a back opener, as I've said before, right? It's all right having a back opener machine at home and fixing it in that, and then you can go putting it in a front opener, and you've got all sorts of issues because you fixed it for a back opener, which has got an hopper, right? So it went in the back opener, no problem, as far as I could see. Maybe there was a problem that I hadn't spotted yet, right? But it worked fine, it paid out, it did everything, because the back opener's run by the triax, and not by the hoppers. Run by this. The hopper's controlled by this and this here usually. It's a combination of the two. When the hopper don't work, it's something to do with these usually, or perhaps the ear switches. So it wouldn't pay out. So when I've come home from work tonight, I've rechecked all the tracks on this and found 2 broken tracks, which again, I've covered all that over, and that's in a socket. That I'm not taking all that off again to put it right. So it was actually not a broken track, but a pin that I hadn't soldered there was one, and this here was broke. Now, bearing in mind, I've checked all this before, and it was fine. So you always either miss something, or perhaps that track there is blown in between me putting it on again, because they can blow. I usually fix in an area tracks that are broke, and some of the ones next to it that don't look great, even though they buzz, I usually do fix them, because they're probably bound to go at some point in the future. They do blow, you know, as we know. So anyway, when I fixed that tonight, that track, what I've just shown you, that little track, it's actually now paying out as well, which is absolutely great. So without further ado, I would say, to be honest, I would say this could be the worst board I've ever done. But you know, we all know I love the challenges, don't I? This isn't a board repair, this is a total rebuild, to be honest. Now I've got to put these 2 back in yet. they don't actually, these machines don't actually use them, I don't think, because it does run without these two here. But I always put them back, even though it doesn't need them. I put everything back, even things it might not need, because I like the thing to be, you know, as perfect as it was, and just in case kind of thing. So, yeah. Now I've got my stand here to put this phone in while I'm fitting this board, so hopefully I'm not going to have too much shaking about and all that lot. But I'm just going to show you this working in the machine, hopefully, so just bear with me a sec. We did have a real error before, which went away when I messed about with the plug. So hopefully we're not going to see a real error again, because it's going to spoil the video. Right. So there's my camera in place, hopefully. Is it? Yep, right. Yep. So we're going to put the board in. This light's a bit of a peculiar colour, by the way. It's a bulb that I've found and put in my lamp. Makes the board look blue, if you look. But it's not. It's a green m1b, believe it or not. They are around. I've got a few here on the scrap pile. This is what this has come from. I've not mentioned it already, which I might have done. Sometimes I repeat myself, but I've done the video in 2 halves, so I don't always remember what I've said in the first bit of it. But yeah, this was just, is for nobody in particular, which I have said now. I remember saying that. It's just off the scrap pile, and it's what you call my filling job when I get a little bit stressed with something else, you know. And there's certainly no rush with this. You can't rush a job like this. You've got to get it absolutely bang on, as you can see. And as I said, with me having them 2 tracks what I fixed, touching, you know, so everything's got to be done very carefully. But let's just, hang on, I can't see that. So I'm not going to show the actual LEDs on this when we boot it, because you're just not going to see it clearly. You'll just see the machine come on, which is just as good as. Hopefully I've not missed no plugs out, because I don't want no alarms. Right, so remove that lamp. Let's remove my stand. Basically we can all see, this is what the whole idea is. That is the board that I've fixed and that you saw that's going in here. Right, we won't bother looking that. Let's put it on. There you go, ram clear. Sometimes this reel does touch the board and alarm as well. Yep, there we go. Reel one fault. Right, take 2. So we had a real error there. Usually when I get this on the video, I usually start the video again, but we're not. Because there's no point. You know, this is going to happen. It's not going to be perfect every time. I'm not bulletproof. We do get issues. So we had a real 3 error then, and I thought that was down to perhaps another trap blowing from there. So I'm just going to show you now that it is, again, it is that board. You know, no reason to lie anyway, but it is that green m1b board. There. Where is it now? m1b, you can see there. m1b. So this is the board. And what that was not a track. It was the real index plug. The pins were dull. So what I've done is just put a bit of sandpaper over them. And hopefully we're not going to see that again now. Now I have tried it a few minutes ago. So hopefully it's not going to spoil my video again by alarming with that. And we're going to see the whole thing just work as it should. Anyway, here we go. Nightmare, these boards. Nightmare. Keep my brain active, that's for sure, don't they? Right. No real error, please. Oh. I thought we were going to see it again then. It was a bit slow, that. There we go. This machine does that for some reason with different boards that I put in. So it's not the board. I don't know why. It's a sound test. There we go. Now let's put the money in. See if we can get a win to show the opera paying out. If only the opera didn't pay out now, wouldn't it? Well, not really, but... Just going to collect the nearest thing I can. Just want to see the opera pay out. Yeah, so when I go so far on a board, you know, I do all them wires and everything, and we spot a load of other broken tracks like on the back of that game card socket. I'm afraid there's no stopping. There's only one outcome, and that is that it's going to work. Don't waste 6 hours on a board just to turn around and stop. Come on, give me some win straight away before. Oh, there we go, we're in now. That'll do. Let's collect that straight away.
This job is big.
Play the 4 goes off. Probably let me in again now, but now I don't want it. No. Okay, ready? There we go. Offer paying out. So there we go. All the hard work definitely does pay off. But now this one, because it's had so much work done on it, it's going to have to be tested for a good, I'd say at least a good 2 weeks to make sure that there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And like I say, that one was for no one in particular, just one out of my scrap pile, what I've done. I might actually put it in the Italian job when I get, not this Italian job, the other one behind me here when I get rid of it. I'm not sure yet. So yep, another really scrapper of a board brought back to life. And I'll leave it up to you guys to judge whether, you know, the old question is, was it worth it or wasn't it? Well, here's the result. Thanks for watching.